People cause accidents. To be more exact, people not paying attention or doing something that they shouldn't be doing causes accidents. To put it another way, accidents result from varying degrees of carelessness, sloppiness, negligence, inattention, neglect, and ignorance. Accidents also happen where two things are found: unsafe acts and unsafe conditions. Unsafe conditions occur when there is a failure to identify, control, remediate, or train properly against a hazard. Even though there can be multiple human causes, accident investigations will always identify the human failure to correct the hazard. Some unsafe conditions are easy to spot. Finding others needs a closer inspection. For example, liquid on a walking surface is an unsafe condition, but you won't see it if you aren't looking where you are stepping. People create the majority of unsafe conditions. Mother Nature can create conditions, but she gives us plenty of warning signs. If it's cold and wet, or raining or snowing, we should be aware of walking hazards. No matter what nature is up to, we can be aware of it and guard against it. However, unsafe conditions created by people are often harder to find. Overloaded circuits, unguarded machinery, unchained cylinders, altered safeties, blocked fire extinguishers, blocked exits, curled up edges of mats or carpets, spills, poor lighting, unsanitary conditions, speeding, damaged tools, and inappropriately stored chemicals like solvents and gasoline, and poor housekeeping are all examples of unsafe conditions created by people. If you see an unsafe condition and ignore it, you just made it more likely that someone will fall victim, perhaps even yourself. Unsafe acts create unsafe conditions. Unsafe acts are things like failing to properly do a job, failing to see hazards, or taking unneeded risks. For example, speeding up to make the yellow light, using tools in wrong ways or using damaged or defective tools, not using proper personal protective equipment, ignoring the safety data sheet for chemicals you are using, or deliberately violating safety rules and procedures. How many unsafe acts can you spot today? Which ones are you doing? The worst kind of unsafe act is deliberately creating an unsafe condition. Have you done anything to make the job more risky for you or for others? Although it is difficult to foresee every condition or potential hazard, it's hard to find an accident that could not have been prevented. The person injured may not have caused the conditions that caused the injury, but something they did or something another person did directly led to the incident. The facts from accident investigations are revealing. 99.5% of accidents are caused by people's behaviors. Some don't do it deliberately. Some don't do it because they just did something stupid. Others cause accidents because they think they can do it without getting hurt, or they don't think about the consequences of their actions. Some are in a hurry. They allow themselves to become distracted and are not paying attention. One thing to remember: you can make the same mistake many times without anything bad happening. I always did it this way, and nothing ever happened until today. Over time, you come to believe that some unsafe conditions or acts are okay because you have no evidence to the contrary. Whatever we do, our job is to identify as many errors as we can and correct them through education, process changes, equipment modifications, or any other way needed to ensure that we all go home safe at the end of each day. Thanks for watching and have a safe day. There are many causes of accidents like negligence, unsafe work areas, misuse of tools and equipment, and failure to use protective equipment. Here are 6 common causes of accidents. Number 1 is poor housekeeping. Injuries from slips and trips are common in a work area. Unsafe housekeeping leads to accidents. Holes, spills, garbage, debris, improperly stored items. Poor housekeeping causes slips and trips. Number 2 is falling hazards. A fall is bound to happen when someone repeatedly fails to look where they are going. Other falling hazards lurk on stairwells with loose guardrails or with things stored on the steps. A simple fall can be life-changing, even fatal. Number 3, misuse of stepladders. A tipped-over stepladder is a leading cause of injury and long-term disability. Failure to set the feet on solid level ground or using the top steps can lead to fatal falls. Don't leave tools on a stepladder. They hurt when they fall off. Number 4 is power tool accidents. Cuts, amputations, and facial and eye injuries happen when safeties or guards are removed, altered, or bypassed, along with not using the right PPE. Saws take off fingers. High-speed grinders cause terrible facial wounds. Nail guns shoot nails at the same velocity of a bullet. Number 5 is wrong lifting. A major cause of injuries, disability, and medical costs are soft tissue injuries like strains, sprains, and torn muscles, ligaments, and tendons. These happen when you lift with unwarmed, unprepared muscles, by not lifting correctly, and not using appropriate lift-assistive devices when the load exceeds your capability. Number 6 is forklift accidents. Forklift accidents can have terrible consequences. Turning or maneuvering with the load raised, not looking in the direction of travel, and going too fast are just a few accident causes. Get the right training and use it all day. Every workplace has hazards that can cause accidents. However, accidents can be avoided through inspections for hazards, using equipment correctly, proper training, concentration, and avoiding distractions on every task in the workplace. Thanks for watching and have a safe day. The worst accident to have is the same one that hurt or killed someone else. In these reviews, we cover some actual major incidents that we can learn from to avoid accidents and injuries. Rescuers were called to a warehouse around 8:30 in the morning about a man trapped under a forklift. When they arrived, they found the victim already deceased. He was turning a forklift on an incline when it suddenly tilted and landed on its side, throwing him out, crushing and amputating his head. A worker was injured when a forklift crashed into him at a warehouse. The man, in his 50s, was taken to the hospital suffering lower leg injuries. Apparently, the man had been walking through the warehouse and a forklift came around the corner and struck him. Firefighters worked to rescue a man whose leg became entangled in a forklift at a plant on Wednesday afternoon. A fork truck had backed over the employee, and that caused the man's leg to become smashed under the rear wheel. An extra rescue squad had to be called in to help get the man's leg untangled from the machine. Airbags had to be placed under the forklift to lift it, then the wheel had to be removed to get the man's leg out. It was later amputated. The rescue took almost 1 hour. In a similar incident, a man was transported to a hospital after an accident at a South Side factory. He was walking quickly through an intersection at the factory, and as he rounded a corner, he stepped right in front of a moving forklift. His right foot was completely crushed under a front wheel, and doctors were unable to save it. A man, 52, was killed in a forklift accident when he stopped to inspect the machine. He had taken the forklift out into the parking lot to do an inspection and apparently failed to properly set the brakes. The machine ran off the end of the parking lot and down an embankment, knocking him over and carrying his body down into a ditch, trapping the man underneath the machine. Another forklift had to be used to lift the overturned vehicle and free the victim. The man died of his injuries before being transported to the hospital. We just discussed 5 accidents with injuries. 2 of the accidents resulted in death. Both people killed were experienced forklift operators. One died because he was not wearing a seatbelt. The other died because he failed to set the brakes. The other 3 accidents resulted in non-fatal but severely life-altering injuries. 2 people lost part or all of a lower limb, and another suffered a very serious leg injury. In all 3 of the incidents, it appeared that neither the machine operators nor the pedestrians were paying enough attention to avoid the accident. In one incident, the forklift operator was not looking in the direction of travel. There are several lessons to be learned. Pay attention. Operators and pedestrians must be aware of each other at all times. Operators, wear your seatbelt all the time, no exceptions. If that machine tips over, it will save your life. Operators, slow down at blind intersections. And operators and pedestrians must always be on the alert when forklifts are in use. Forklift accidents are devastating, and they can be deadly. They hurt everybody, but most of all, they hurt those left behind. But forklift accidents are preventable. To help prevent them, the operator and the pedestrians around forklifts must keep 4 basic facts in mind. Fact number 1, pedestrians. Pedestrians must always be aware that any forklift operating in the vicinity requires plenty of leeway. In other words, don't walk near, in front of, or behind one and assume that the operator can stop in time. Always make sure the operator knows where you are. Don't hope that the operator knows you are there. Make sure of it. Never put yourself in a position to be run over. Fact number 2, speed. In many accidents, the forklift operator is simply going too fast. A forklift cannot stop on a dime, and if it is carrying a load, stopping too fast can cause the load to fall off. Operators must slow down when traveling into intersections, around corners, going through doorways, into or out of trucks, or any time they are entering a new area. How slow to go? Slow enough so that the truck could be brought to a quick stop if necessary. Fact number 3, distractions. Driving a forklift should get the driver's complete, undivided attention at all times. While moving, operators must not make phone calls, send text messages, read order sheets, or look at anything other than the path of their multi-ton truck. No daydreaming. Operators must always be looking in the direction the forklift is moving. Pedestrians should not distract operators in any way that disturbs a driver's concentration. Fact number 4, housekeeping. The minimum aisle clearance should be the width of the forklift plus 3 feet. Forklift travel paths should be kept as straight as possible. Cluttered aisles force forklifts to swing around obstacles, causing them to hit racks, uprights, or pedestrians. Boxes and pallet loads can hide pedestrians. Remember, in order to prevent forklift accidents, keep these 4 forklift facts in mind.